The Play Absolutely podcast with Dr. Sue Jennings and Dr. Andy Hickson.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Play Absolutely podcast. Hi Sue, how are you doing?
Okie dokes, okie dokies.
Okie dokies. You're looking
But
a little bit
it's still
glum
too
today.
hot,
How it's very hot, yeah. Is
Yes.
that what's making you look a little bit under the weather?
No, I'm not under the weather at all.
You're
I'm just
not under the weather. I am. I've been suffering with a very painful back for a few days.
oh
but,
dear.
Muddling through it.
Perhaps you need a
does.
chiropractor.
No, it's not bone, it's muscles. Yeah, my muscles did some dodgy stuff. I think it was because it was so hot. Sleeping without any covers on and a window open. I think during the night a draft blew onto my back and did something to my muscles. So a little bit painful. Yeah. Yeah. So what have you been up to this week? Anything playful?
Well, I've been re-reviewing a playful book
Re-reviewing. Okay.
because the publishers have asked me if I think it's a good idea for them to publish a second edition. So I'll be talking about that book in the future once a decision's been made.
So when you say re-reviewing, is it re-reviewing a book of yours?
No, not of mine. Because I'm neutral. That's why they've chosen me to give
So
my
that
view.
you're re-reviewing it
Yes.
in view to make a second edition? But how can you make a second edition if you didn't do the first?
No, it's just my opinion whether I think a second edition would be a good idea.
Oh, right. Okay. So you hold... you're the kingmaker as to whether or not this person gets published a second time.
Well, people don't realise that I get sent a lot of book proposals,
Yeah.
as well as second proposals like this one about updated or new edition or second volume or whatever. And
Well, how does that feel? Because that puts you in quite a position of power. I mean, you can say yes or no to some degree on people's futures. That's a big responsibility.
yes,
I mean,
and one has to
if
be-
you read something, sorry to interrupt, if you review something that isn't really up to the mark, but it's like somebody you know and respect very well, how do you deal with that? Do you let it go under the radar, or how do you?
It's not easy but I have a very strict protocol for myself. If it's somebody I know well, then I tell the publisher I can't do it because I have a vested
okay.
interest. If it's a close friend and colleague, if it's somebody I happen to know of, I mean, most people know each other in the play therapy field anyway. If I think it's not reaching what it should,
Right.
the publishers will give you some options. Shall we go ahead with revisions? So it might be, I might say yes, but it needs X, Y, and Z. Or they say, does it need major revisions?
Sounds like a Viva to me, a PhD.
Yes.
Viva.
It's rare I say, don't touch this with a barge pole, and it would have to be very inaccurate or biased or sexist or whatever.
Right.
I'm not saying I've never recommended they don't publish,
Okay.
but sometimes I'll consult another colleague of mine who might have read the manuscript as well. And that's actually quite interesting because I play fair. I voice my concerns first.
Okay.
And usually they say, well, it's interesting you say that because I've actually said that to the publisher myself. So, and I always reread more than once. So I give somebody, because I know what it was like to struggle to become a writer in the first place. And so you don't want to do somebody down who's genuine, struggling, but perhaps inexperienced.
Right. Yeah. And some people are just prolific, like yourself, in writing, and
Well,
others.
I love writing, you see. I don't find it a chore. Other people say, oh, God, I've got a deadline. I don't know how I'm going to do it, you know. But the actual process I do enjoy doing, of actually seeing your thoughts come alive on the page, is such a rewarding thing to do.
So, okay, in your own home, in your garden, out somewhere in nature, like by a waterfall, on an aeroplane, in a bus station, in a foreign country, where is your number one choice if you could choose where to write? Where would it be?
It would be in a small town that had got an inspiring cafe
Oh, okay.
where I could go, first of all, with pen and paper and write ideas. People around me, not interfering, but I'm not one of these people, lonely attic writers.
Okay.
I like people around me, and I like to do as much as I can handwritten first, then translate it onto the computer.
Okay.
But I don't like
So
isolation.
This cafe, is it? I mean, do you want to have a view outside of the cafe windows, or in a darkened space?
No, not at all. As light as possible, looking out on a busy street, people around.
Street.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the obvious place that the picture I get is Stratford-upon-Avon from that description.
Oh, absolutely. I did a lot of my writing in Stratford-on-Avon, in the Theatre Cafe, or one or two other lovely cafes in the town.
Okay.
And
Wow.
And that would be great.
Mm.
A friend
What
of
about
mine,
abroad?
a friend of mine used to write music in cafes, and the trouble was that people kept being nosy
Yes.
and saying, "Oh, what are you writing? Some music? Can you tell us what it is?" And she used to say, "I'm a Sunday school teacher. I'm writing hymns for the children." And
Okay,
they'd
so
immediately disappear.
let me give you five options. Right, you got your cafe, all right, in the middle, and it's on a street with people passing. Are you going to choose London, Paris, Barcelona, Rome, or Vienna?
Or,
Vienna.
whoa, out of all those,
I'll give you Prague. I'll give you Prague as well.
no, it'd be Vienna.
It would be Vienna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Being such an artistic place in itself.
Yeah,
And
but I
very
think
musical.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you know where to book your next holiday, your next writing holiday.
Well, I'm going to Vienna in November anyway.
Oh, right. Is that to see the Andre person by any chance?
Yeah, it's an Andre Rieu concert,
It is. Right.
particularly because it's the home of Johann Strauss, and he plays a lot of Strauss music, so it's a very special concert.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, if our viewers don't know, Andre Priev is the love of your life at the moment. And
That's a funny way to put it. I don't know
funny
about
way.
the love of my life, but somebody I admire enormously, and whose music I enjoy.
Yeah. Wow. Good. So, I mean, that sort of moves along to, you found the place, you got your cafe, you're in Vienna, there's a few other people in there, you got the walkers, the passers-by, music playing in
Maybe.
the cafe, headphones on, or
No.
just chatter.
No. I don't like wearing headphones if I can help it.
Okay. Yeah. Hence why you find our podcast wearing, but you do very well. You don't show it too much that you're not enjoying wearing those headphones. So would you like piped music coming out in the cafe, or just chatter?
Well, it depends what the music is.
Andre, of course.
But no, I mean, if it's classical music, traditional classical music, then I love that in the background. I can write to. I mean,
Right.
classical musicians would be appalled at me writing to music. Yeah. But I find classical music as a background is very helpful when I'm writing. It helps me focus.
Yes, well, I mean, most types of music. I think the only time it's not so much annoyed, but I do sort of stand with amazement sometimes. As much as I love my music everywhere, and I love listening to all kinds of music. If I'm out in nature, if I'm walking along a forest path, and then I meet somebody with carrying a boombox or a tape recorder or loud radio, listening to music while they're walking down a nature trail, I find that a bit off-putting, and I don't really like it, if I'm honest. Yeah.
Yeah, I struggle with harsh music, I must say.
Okay. Okay, so let's get back to the title of our podcast, Play. Absolutely. Our last podcast, a bit chaotic in terms of not really our presentation, not down to our presentation, but down to the technical aspects.
Yes.
We got a full podcast, and luckily I re-recorded the news item because the first time round it didn't record. So yeah, it was a bit higgledy-piggledy, but I think the podcast itself was okay, quite interesting, quite funny in some bits when we lost control of the technical side of things. So
yes, I wanted to talk about play in the theatre and playfulness in the theatre.
As opposed to a play in the theatre.
Well, we talk about the actors being players.
We do.
Don't we? They are players. But you get an interesting opposition when within a play, another play is happening. I mean, it happens in several of Shakespeare's plays. It happens in Midsummer Night's Dream, in Hamlet, and so on. So it's like a double play. That while the play in the play is going on, the players watching it are pretending to be ordinary people watching a play.
Yes, so they're playing on several levels.
Which is quite a contradiction, isn't it? And of course, something I question a bit about playing in the theatre at the moment is that so many theatre companies want it to be lavish.
Right.
And I mean, I well remember years ago when actually you had to be economical. And part of the fun was making something look as if it was rich or lavish, when in actual fact it was nothing at all. I don't know if you remember that production at the National Theatre of the Royal Hunt of the Sun. And they're supposed to display these rich golden and bronze bowls and containers and jugs, and they didn't have any money. They didn't know what to do, and it was the stage manager suggested that they all went out to the pubs and asked them to save bottle tops. And they found they could use these bottle tops and smash them with hammers, and they actually looked like gold.
Right.
And the whole of that staging of this sort of rich as Inca kingdom was made from smashed bottle tops.
Amazing. There's a funny story about bottle tops when I was a kid, when we was off at school. There was one child there that I don't fully know how it started, but this bottle tops thing, we developed a kind of currency for bottle tops, and we made these bottle tops, worth something. And although we weren't exchanging for big items, we would, little little sort of things like pencils, crayons, and stuff like that, we would exchange bottle tops for other things, and different coloured bottle tops would be more valuable than others. And this went on for a term, and it wasn't until the following term, because during that summer break, I, along with many other people, we thought, got to collect up some bottle tops ready for the new term. The lad that started it all off came with what must have been a bin bag full of bottle tops. And it wasn't, and we sort of found out then that his dad owned a pub. And so he made a killing on all these old used bottle tops, exchanging them for other sort of valuable things. And then it sort of died a death. It's funny though.
What an enterprising young man.
Well, yeah. I think that now. At the time, I thought cheated. Thought very much cheated. But yeah, it's funny how you can give something value when intrinsically it doesn't have any value itself, but sort of within the system that we'd created.
I remember when your younger brother discovered a roll of Fablon in a tip somewhere. Fablon that you can use to cover tables or so on.
Yeah.
And he was selling it to his teachers at school to cover their kitchen stools with. And they had no idea that he'd found it in a tip. So that was a little enterprising thing.
Indeed. So we are gearing up, and it will be in our regular segment, Play in the News, in a little while, but gearing up to the 5th of August, which is the UK's National Play Day. Since our last podcast, I have contacted both the Welsh organisers and the English organisers of Play Day, National Play Day, to invite them for an interview on our podcast, but also to see if they've got any sort of events that they'd like us to promote or anything like that, if they've got any resources that we could give out, and I haven't had a single reply back, so they're not playing with us at the moment. I sent you a link as well to the English one, because I'm currently based in Wales, you're based in England, so I don't know if you had any luck your end.
I've not followed up yet. That's on my agenda for later this week.
Yeah, but they've got lots of interesting people on board, and there's lots of interesting events going on around the UK. Rather than, I don't believe that they've organised like a big play day in a city or anything. Rather, there's lots of sort of community events in towns across England and Wales. I haven't checked out Scotland yet, but I presume there's some there as well. But the fact that we are on the 5th of August, keep that date, going to be playing all over the country, is a brilliant thing, I think.
Marvellous.
Yeah. Okay. So any other playful things you'd like to talk about before we go to this week's Play in the News?
Well, there was just one more anecdote about the theatre that I wanted to.
Oh, right, yeah.
About reality and fantasy and pretend and so on. And it was an extraordinary situation. It turned out for this theatre company to be very, very expensive. Because there was a major production going on of King Lear. And the director, not the designer, the director said he wanted all the soldiers in...
Oh, the leather coats, is this?
Yeah, that's right. And wanted them...
We talked about that in a previous episode.
Have I?
What an amazing... No, yeah, we did. Amazing waste of money where they had to beat up all the leather coats that they...
Overnight.
Yeah.
Because he insisted right through to the dress rehearsal. And at dress rehearsal, these leather coats, which were long down to your ankles, so you can imagine how much real leather it took.
Yeah, it's like those old trench coats that.
That's right,
were
and they
very
looked
fashionable for a
appalling.
while.
So those poor wardrobe people spent the entire night beating them up so they looked worn, because otherwise they just didn't look like leather, they looked like plastic.
Yeah, yeah. And they could have bought plastic at a much cheaper
Yes.
price, or some faux leather.
Artificial leather on stage looks leather.
Looks proper leather.
So playfulness gone wrong.
And expensive, very expensive. I mean, those trench coats aren't cheap. We're talking hundreds, and back in the day, that would have been a big part of the budget, wouldn't it? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on to our regular segment. This week's
Play in the news.
And so we go to this week's Play in the News. Now, as already mentioned, across the UK on the 5th of August, it's a Wednesday, we see play events happening all over the UK. Now, one that's local to you, or relatively local to you, Sue, is Frome Town Council. It's marking, National Play Day with a free event at the Key Centre on Wednesday, the 5th of August, 2 till 5. Activities include a bicycle ramp building, a cyanotype sun pictures, helping create a new Key Centre board game, free skateboard lessons, stay and play for younger children, willow weaving, a board game bonanza, live music and refreshments. The event also showcases the improved play area at Tower View, designed with the community. Now, our audience should know that both of us are very much into social theatre, and this is a strong social theatre style story because play is being used to animate a place that has been underused. It's not only children being entertained, it is a community site being brought back to life. Then we go abroad, and it's starting to get difficult finding a country that is not affected by war nowadays, particularly one that the West is involved in. UNICEF reports this week that at least 330 children have been killed or injured in Sudan in the first 6 months of 2026, with Darfur and Kordofan recording the highest levels of child casualties. UNICEF's related material also points to Makanas as safe spaces where children affected by conflict can learn, play and recover. This gives the harder edge to UK's Playdays. In the UK, Playday asks how we create more opportunities for play. In the Sudan, the question is more basic. How can children play when homes, schools, water systems and markets are under attack? We say that play is a right, but war attacks the ground that right stands on. That's this week's Play in the News. Stark contrast.
Well, interestingly enough, talking about the war zones, I've also been thinking about play when there's disaster,
Okay.
which could be a natural disaster of some kind. And there was a very interesting happening when there was a tsunami in Indonesia,
Yes.
particularly in Bali.
I
And
remember that.
we don't know who, but it was somebody in the Red Cross messaged the UK
Right.
asking for a theatre director to go out to Bali. No, so it wasn't sort of first aid or medical supplies. They wanted a theatre director, which is an extraordinary thing coming from a non-theatre organisation.
Right.
Anyway,
What happened?
out went a theatre director. And in particular, they wanted him to work with teenagers, many of whom, as a result of the shock of the tsunami, had gone mute and stopped talking.
Right.
And of course, being a theatre director, he knew all about non-verbal communication, and particularly in Bali, because the Balinese dances are based on their mime communication system,
Right.
which of course any other sort of worker might not have known. So he set up just a series of workshops for 14, 15-year-olds affected by the tsunami through trauma, because stopping speaking is one symptom of trauma for some people. And it was interesting getting into making it okay if people didn't want to talk, but they can communicate in another way,
Right.
in a culturally acceptable way, which was there's like a dance drama. And it was highly successful, and within a short space of time following the workshops, and it culminated in some community performances, they started to speak again.
Wow. Amazing. Do we know who the theatre director was, or from what company?
It was certainly from the southwest. I don't know their name. It's one we could find out, I think.
Yeah.
But I thought that was
wow.
such an enlightened thought of how it all started.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, I
So-
remember.
Sorry, I was just going to say that followed up me deciding that a useful motto would be, we do make a drama out of a crisis. You remember that advertising slogan, we don't make a drama, which was, I think, an insurance company.
Okay. Yeah. We do make a crisis out of a drama.
No,
Fabulous.
we do make a drama out of a crisis.
I know. I'm playing with you. Yeah.
Sorry, I cut across something you were saying.
No. I was just trying to locate it. I mean, there was a few tsunamis in recent living memory. The one that jumps out in my mind, and I don't know if it's the same one you're talking about, is when Banda Aceh. So that's Indonesia. I mean, obviously close to Bali. I'm not sure if that's the same one, but Banda Aceh was the epicenter in Indonesia, and I think that got totally demolished, totally flattened. Yeah. Wow. So anything other playful you'd like to talk about this week, Sue?
Well, I was also thinking, by association, there was, for a small island, there was quite a serious tsunami in Penang.
Oh, right.
And they used drama and ritual every year to remember the tsunami, but not in a destructive way, but to remember the people that were lost, like a memorial. And it was very cathartic for the residents there, because Penang is a small island and everybody knows everybody. So I was very honoured to be a part of that one year and being
Yes, I
able
like
to join
Penang
in.
myself.
Yes.
Good.
What about you?
No, well, this week, I suppose the most playful thing that I've been doing this week is playfully trying to build up my latest course. More to come on that soon. But yes, that's a long, slow process. A new playful course for people interested in going to university but think they are unable to deal with academia. So that's currently what what I'm in the middle of developing. More later.
Okay.
So, okay, well, let's my back is hurting a lot, if I'm honest. So what I'd like us to do, we've just gone past the half-hour mark. Let us draw this week's podcast to a close. And remember that the next podcast, I think is the next one, or one very soon, we're going to be doing our first live one. So yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, a bit nervous about that, but I'm sure we'll do fine. As I said, we don't try to hide anything, as people could see in last week's podcast, mistakes and all. But I think technical hitches we have not had this week, which has been good. So as always, with all of our podcasts, we like to end with a short creative activity that we suggest for our viewers to undertake. If they're feeling the blues, feeling a bit anxious, Sue, every week I ask you to go first, which is probably a bit unfair. So I'm going to change it up this week. I'm going to go first and just give you a little chance, if you haven't thought of something already, to think of the activity that you would like to suggest to our viewers. So we've talked about theatre. My activity this week is the tiny theatre. Okay? And like last week, it's about holding out your hand and imagine it's a small stage, and imagine your worry is a tiny character standing on it. Give it a funny name. For example, Captain Panic, the Wobble, the Hurry Monster, or Little What If. Then ask it one question. What are you trying to protect me from? Let one quick answer come from that. Then shrink it. Imagine the character becoming smaller and smaller, softer and slower, and give yourself one line to say back. Thank you, but I'm in charge of the next minute. Then take one slow breath and do one simple action. Stand up, sip water, stretch, open a window, or touch something solid. The idea is not to defeat anxiety, but to turn it into something playable, rather than something that takes over. That's my activity this week. What have you got for us, Sue?
Well, I like that one very much. It's like making a miniature theatre on your hand.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm going to extend that because I think making miniature environments is a very good way to address anxiety. And you really don't need lots and lots of equipment. A shoebox would be fine. And
Right.
shoeboxes are good because they've got a lid, so you can close it and end it. But inside the shoebox, you could make an environment. You could use plasticine or Play-Doh to make little figures. You could use crinkly paper to make trees and shrubs and pathways. You can use cellophane paper that you can
Water.
see through to make a waterfall. There are so many things you can make just out of scraps you've got around you.
Right. It's like creating a play box, isn't it?
Yes.
A bit similar to one of the things you do, theatre in a box, is it called?
Yes. That's when we actually make it into a miniature
stage
theatre.
and-
But with the shoebox, we're making it into a playful environment. And you find that because you're focusing on the environment, the anxiety starts to dissipate.
Yes.
And you can either just have your environment and put the lid on it, close it, or you might go on and start thinking of a story that happens in the environment.
Yeah. Different story each week.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. So I'm slowly compiling a handbook of some of these practical ideas that you can use from things just around you.
Great. Love it. Okay, viewers, please, if you've enjoyed this week's episode, drop us a like, subscribe to the channel, and write a comment. Come on, write a comment down below. You can do that. Takes you a couple of seconds, and we will answer your comments, your criticism, your thought for the day, your playful activity, whatever it is. Sue, been wonderful to chat with you again this week. I look forward to, well, I'm not sure if it's the live next week, but the live soon, and to having another chat with you next week. So this is Andy saying, don't forget to play.
And Sue reminding you with my elbow, don't forget to play.
Yeah. Don't forget to play. My days. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.